Hey there, lovely, lovely, lovely people. What a dreary day, damp, wet. One of those days that I got walking around in circles and there's nothing I can do outside. And I'm just walking around here inside looking at loads and loads and loads of things that I have to do that I just cannot work up the courage of doing. But anyway, let me get to the video. This morning I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me that his son, he was preparing him to send him to college. He's going to study something, which I said to myself, I didn't say to him, the most ridiculous degree that you could ever possibly imagine studying. And I just didn't say anything, but it inspired me to make this video about education and what we are taught in school from day one, from the first time that we arrive at school, and the things that they start teaching us to prepare us for a life of servitude. And some people say, they don't lie about everything. And I have to correct them. They lie about everything. Every single solitary thing. If there was anything true, they would not want you to get to know it. And you know yourselves that the education system has been created by religious orders of the dark faith, the Rockefeller Institution. Rockefeller himself said, I want a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. Anyway, let's bypass all of that. So, if they lie to you once, and they lie to you more than once, I mean, are you going to believe the lies that they tell you? In fact, you're obliged to believe the lies. If you don't believe the lies and you don't answer these lies when your exam comes along, you're not going to pass your exam, right? So, from an early age in school, you're taught that the government is here for your benefit, right? Is that true now? When you look back, is that really true? Yeah? You're taught that becoming a human pin cushion experiment will save your life, prolong your life, keep you safe from boogeyman diseases. People, adults, still believed that 5 years ago. Many of them, when you go back now and ask them about it, if they're honest, they'll say, no, that was a lie. They teach children that oil comes from dead dinosaur bones. Carry that lie with you throughout your life. You're taught at an early age that Santa Claus is real, that the Tooth Fairy is real, that the Easter Bunny is real. Any truth in any of that? Zero. You find that out later in life. Do you go back and say, oh, I'm very upset that they lied to me? No, you don't even do that. Because you don't connect the importance of this lie to the indoctrination that you've been given and how it set you on a path. I'm here to tell you that all of the history that we learned at school was all a lie. I'm not going to go through specific events. Everything in history is a lie. But specific important events for the mind of a child and a student going through life. That we came from cavemen, and that we went through the Dark Ages, and then we came through medieval times, and modern science has saved us. And these are the people who brought us warm homes, cars, transport, communications, and we went millions of years without that. And then they came up with it. That's what they want us to believe. And then they get us to believe in theories that, like, theory is theory. It's self-explanatory. Yet we are taught theory as if it's real, true science. You got the theory of gravity. You got the theory of evolution, the theory of relativity, the germ theory. And basically, you learn these, they might say the word to you, this is the theory of gravity, this is the theory of this. You don't really understand what theory is, and they continue to teach it to you. You will grow up believing these things are real and they're true. But calling them a theory is a get-out clause on their part. You can't sue them for miseducating you because they were just theorizing. Evolution, the theory of. What are you to believe? That there was once an ocean with nothing in it, and it got hit by lightning, and it sparked life into a single-cell creature that kept getting bigger and morphing and evolving until it grew legs and climbed out of the ocean. And suddenly it looked over and there was another one with legs, and you're a male and it's a female, and they start copulating and copulating for billions of years until they turn into a couple of monkeys, and then two monkeys go up a tree and start copulating and copulating until they turn out a deformed baby, turned out to be a human. Anyone who believes that has lost touch with reality. Yet they can get away with it because they call it the theory of evolution. Relativity, I'm not even going to get into that there. You go to the doctor, doctor, I got a sore stomach. Take these. And you go home, oh, it's 10 times worse. Are you going to sue? You're not going to sue. You go to court, you get a lawyer, you spend money. The doctor knows he's theorizing on the germ theory. The judge knows it's a theory. But you consented to going looking for help from someone who deals in theory. It's your fault. You lose. They win. And you're out of pocket. So they tell you one lie and you believe it. And they tell you another lie. How far are they going to go until you go, hold on a minute, just time out? They teach us that from a very early age, that you're living on a planet, ball planet, in a vacuum, going millions of miles per hour in many different directions. That's movement. Yet, have you ever seen what happens to a swimming pool, a small swimming pool, or a swimming pool in a small earthquake, it goes crazy. If you were never taught that you lived on a spinning ball flying through a scientifically impossible space vacuum, if you were never taught that, and you just were set down on this earth, would you get the sensation that you're in motion? Would you get the sensation that you're on a ball fired out of a cannon by space terrorists 13.7 billion years ago, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator of that ball, and you are orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles per hour, and you're following the sun at 580,000 miles per hour, and that the whole solar system is moving sideways at 1.4 million miles per hour, would you have that sensation? Or would you have the sensation that you are stationary, perfectly still, without being taught from an early age in school that you're on a spinning ball, and then you're fed Star Wars, Star Trek, we're going to the moon, we're going to Mars. If you weren't taught any of these things, would you believe that you are in motion or that you are stationary? These lies are necessary for them to control us, to make us into a nation of workers and not thinkers. And in order for you to pass your exams at school, you have to learn these lies, memorize them, and then regurgitate them at exam time. And once you do that right, they'll give you a certificate which will entitle you to go to college and get a student's loan, which you have to pay back for the next 20 years. They have you in a trap. It's a trap. And most college degrees these days, I know of a lot of people working in fast food restaurants with college degrees. No jobs. No jobs. Now, it doesn't matter if you go and get a college degree in astronomy, astrophysics, theoretical physics, man, what the hell is that? Biology, geology, archaeology, meteorology. There are no paying jobs in these degrees, but you've been trapped into a 20, 30-year loan repayment scheme. And America's greatest income at the moment is coming from student loan repayments. That's the top income of the United States. Now, I am here to advise any student that is seriously thinking about their future to get rid of any delusions of grandeur that you may have for life as someone who gets looked up to with a title. There are a shortage of real important, really well-educated people in this world right now. A shortage of carpenters, a shortage of joiners. There is a shortage of mechanics, good mechanics. There's a shortage of electricians, plumbers, builders, even painter, decorators. I would advise any student, forget going right now and applying for a student's loan to get yourself through 5 years of rubbish, bullshit, full of lies university, and go and get yourself a trade as one of those things I mentioned: electrician, plumber, mechanic, carpenter. Trust me, you will earn 10 or 20 times more money doing these things than you would with your college degree working in a fast food restaurant, being unable to get a job anywhere. These degrees are ridiculous. What they're going to teach you is garbage with zero reality, zero truth. Now, I'm not in anything, but all my life I have done carpentry, I have done joinery, I have done mechanics. I electrified and wired this whole house by myself. I'm not an electrician. I plumbed this entire house by myself. I'm not an electrician. I built it from roof being caved in. I did that ceiling myself. It took me, I can't remember how long, but I spent the next 3 weeks afterwards lying on this sofa here staring at it, so proud of what I'd done. And I'll tell you why I did it myself, because I could not find someone to do it for me. People with these skills are so scarce. And I painted it and decorated and plastered it all myself. So these people with trades are people who are necessary in society. If you have one of these trades, your phone is going to ring all day, people looking for you. You can charge them whatever you want. And if you're very good at what you do and you get a good reputation, you will get so many more jobs from referrals. You will become liked because you are needed. And then you can go out and earn the money to buy yourself the most beautiful house that you want to buy without having to apply to these demons for a loan to buy a house on top of your loan to become a student of bullology, bullshitology. So that's basically my take for today on these evil people who set students off on the wrong path. Yeah? And any adult that believes the government is here for your benefit, that giving yourself up as a medical experiment is good for the planet, that cannonball flying through a space vacuum at 5 million miles per hour in 13 different directions. You know, these people have demonic numbers to explain their fictional world. And basically they made this fictional world to wipe any possibility of you understanding that this world is created by intelligent design. So, oil does not come from dead dinosaur bones. Teaching children about Santa Claus, I'll tell you a story. I never taught my children about that Santa Claus existed. I bought my children Christmas presents at Christmas time so they wouldn't feel out of place with all the neighbours' kids playing around outside on new toy tractors and the new toys. I got them all these things to fit in. But I never mention Santa Claus. And then my daughter, she was about 4 or 5 years old, and she went to school after Christmas, and the teacher wanted all the children to get up and say what Santa Claus got them for Christmas. And my daughter got up and said, "My mom and dad got me these things. There is no such thing as Santa Claus." Will you hear what happened next? The school rang us and complained to us for my daughter telling the other children that Santa Claus didn't exist. I mean, what the hell kind of world do we live in? Yeah. And yeah, it takes you a while to get out of Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, and all the other lies. But the number one and most important lie is that you're living on a restricted ball. You're running out of resources. You're running out of oil. You're running out of gas. You're running out of water. You're running out of food. None of these things are real. Nothing could be further from the truth. But they have you in a mindset accepting these things as true, so that you're always in a panic and you will always believe what the government tell you when a crisis, a manufactured crisis comes along. Yeah? I mean, what the circumference of this earth, the circumference of the earth is 6 times 6 times 600. The curvature of this earth, the non-existent curvature, is 0.666 of a mile. Yeah? Every mile. The speed that the earth is orbiting the sun, 66,600 miles per hour. The diameter of the moon, 6 times 6 times 60. Now, there's nothing wrong with numbers. These are not demonic numbers, but they created them and gave the impression through all their fairy tale stories, their horror movies, and their constructed religious scriptural books, that these 3 numbers represent some satanic force. But then they give us these numbers and how they explain everything, just to tell us really they are the satanic force. So if your child is a student, or if you know anybody who is a student who has got the wrong idea in their head for their future and plans for their future, please share this. I very rarely ask any of my subscribers or watchers to share this video with anybody. But I would ask you to share this video with one who is considering giving their life away to a complete and utter bullshit world. That they will make the biggest mistake of their life. They will earn nothing throughout their life. They will be in a life of stress and a life of debt. And take my word for it, from day one at school to 15 years later, when you leave school and go into college for another 5 years, every single solitary thing that they teach is a complete and utter load of rubbish. Now, you could go out and get a 15-year-old kid now and go around my garden out here and ask, what kind of tree is that? No idea. What kind of plant is that? No idea. I have such a huge array of birds flying around here. What kind of bird is that? No idea. Look at the insects on the ground. What's the name of that insect? No idea. Yeah? But what they do believe that they know is something that is a complete and utter load of garbage. And of course, as I said, if you don't learn these bullshit lies and you don't regurgitate them at exam time, In order to get your paper to say that you're qualified, they'll tell you you're going nowhere in life. So please, if you know a student, if your child is a student, reconsider what plans you have for your child for life. Don't let them go and study something which is nothing but theory. Don't let them go and study something which is nothing but lies. And don't let them go and study something that they cannot get a job doing and end up working in a fast food restaurant in debt. Put them into the trades. They won't regret it. Put them into the trades where they will have a life of $1,000 a day coming in through the door. I know plumbers and electricians that are pulling in $1,000 a day with 5 call-outs. And each one takes a half an hour, but it's $200. And people will pay it because they need it. They need people. Become one of those people that are needed, that have a good reputation and can benefit society. And you can buy your own fast car. You can buy your own fleet of trucks. You can employ people and train them for the future. And become somebody. Yeah, all day you're walking around in a dirty old jacket, dirty old jeans, dirty old boots. But where there's muck, there's money. That's about it for today, people. Nothing else to add. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. I love you all, much love. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Take it easy.